Hello guys, you're very welcome along. This is Alpha Omega Occasionally. On this occasion, we're talking about the topic of promiscuity. Is Thailand that promiscuous? Well, it all depends on what you mean by that, but it is. Quite frankly, it is. We're not talking about the tourist industry or, the red light districts of Bangkok or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. This is about Thai culture, Thai people. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with promiscuity as long as you're... How do they say when they're talking about alcohol use, blah, 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 responsibly? Well, as long as you're being responsible in what you're doing, I suppose. But Thailand is very promiscuous as a culture. And if you've ever been here, you may think straight away, well, you're thinking about Nana or Salom or these places or, the red light districts. It's, as I said, it's nothing to do with that. If you take yourself out of the tourist areas and you go to the real deal, where the real Thailand happens, like where I live, Huy Quang, where I do the videos every night for the Big Picture El Panorama along that famous, what is now the famous strip of Huy Quang Night Market. Do you know that there are oodles of massage parlours? And I mean oodles. I couldn't even count. Within a 1 kilometre stretch. They're everywhere. They're literally, and you don't need me to tell you this, you know this. And a lot of those places are straightforward, straight up traditional Thai massage. But a lot of those places are not straight up, straightforward traditional Thai massage, if you know what I mean. There's love motels all over Bangkok, I'm sure all over the country. But from where I'm standing now, I know of at least 3 or 4 within a kilometre of where I'm staying. And if you don't know what a love motel is, I'll describe, from what I've been told, I'll describe what a love motel is and how it functions. A love motel is what it is. It's a motel where you go to enjoy the pleasures of the flesh, let's say. And presumably with someone you wouldn't necessarily be doing that with, if you know what I mean. Unofficial, let's say. And when you drive, apparently, when you drive into these places, you're greeted, it's like, it's very, the ones I'm talking about seem to be very dark. You go in and it's kind of covered, and they usher you with a flashlight, and they usher you into a parking bay. And the parking bay is convenient to an open door. In other words, there's a door straight in front of you. And they slide this accordion style metal curtain behind your car. And nobody sees you get out of the car with whoever it is you're with. And you alight your vehicle and you make your way into the open door or the open doorway. Close the door, nearly fell into the pool there. Close the door behind you. And within minutes, they'll knock on the door and it's 300 baht. And they will provide you with a couple of bottles of water and some prophylactics. There you go. The French call them le preservatives, whatever. But anyway, my French is terrible. Worse than my Thai. Those places are everywhere. 300 baht is $10. You get a treat for 3 hours. Apparently. That's all I know of. But these are all over the place. And they're not for tourists. And why do I know they're not for tourists? Because number one, they're not in tourist areas. And number two, tourists don't drive cars. They come here on a holiday, so they don't drive. These are for Thais. And I've lived in numerous places around the world. And I've never been anywhere I've lived. I've never come across anything like the likes of that. You may say, I've lived a sheltered life. Well, I haven't. But I can tell you that I've lived in the Middle East. I've lived in my home country, Ireland. I've also lived in the United Kingdom. I've lived, and obviously lived here. and I've travelled extensively. I've never seen love motels anywhere else, only here. So you've got your mia noise and your giks, G-I-K, I think that's how you spell it. I interviewed a girl for the Big Picture Panorama the other day, and I said, do you have a boyfriend? She said, no, I have a gik. And she was just up front, I should say. She's just upfront about it. A gik, by the way, is a friend with benefits. So you have your giks and your mia noi. Mia is the Thai word for wife, or one of the Thai words for wife. And noi is little, so it's little wife, in other words, your mistress. And you can Google this. Mia noi is kind of in Thai culture. It's not necessarily accepted, but it's recognised as a lot of Thais in the past, and probably not so commonplace in this day and age, but a lot of Thai men I know of at least one that has a mia noi. And regardless of anything else, it's a very expensive process, isn't it? When you think about it, one's enough. But there you go. You've got your mia nois, you've got your geeks, you've got your love motels. You've got this, I would say, easygoing attitude towards sexuality in Thailand, much more so than in the West. There's no stuffiness about it. There's no reservedness about it. There's no innuendos when you're speaking about it. It's all direct, and it's all this and it's all that. And it's very refreshing. I can say that. Very refreshing. And whether you decide to lend yourself to Thai culture in every aspect of Thai culture, you may wonder, will I become like a Thai? Will I become... And I'm not saying Thais are promiscuous. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a lot of promiscuity in Thailand. So a lot of guys that come here venture into this type of promiscuity because there's a lot of opportunities available in Thailand, more than you would probably find in your home country. That's just my 5 cents worth. To say that any country is X, Y, or Z is a generalization. And this is a generalization, and it's wrong to generalize, but generally speaking, if you're going to name countries of the world where you would associate promiscuity, let's say, would you say, no, I'm not trying to say this is the case, but would you say the Dutch? Would you say the Swedish? Would you say the French? Would you say the Irish? I wouldn't say the Irish. I've got experience of it. But these are what we call stereotypes. And the Thais are not stereotypically promiscuous, but their culture lends itself towards that way of thinking. So there you go. That's my understanding of it. I mean, I can justify it by saying there are love motels here. There are girls that come out and tell me straight up, I have a geek. And I know 1 or 2 guys that have their mia nois. So I hope you found this informative. And if you have done, make sure, if you haven't done yet, click that notifications bell and click the subscribe button and the share button and the like button and do all those wonderful things. And I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.